Flights are pricey, planning feels chaotic, and that trip that keeps getting pushed because you're too busy or travel's too expensive. Welcome to Points, Cards, and Travel. I'm Ross, the founder of Itinerary Boss. I've made the mistakes of doing this for 10 plus years so you don't have to. Each week, you'll get practical tools, point strategies, and expert guests with real use cases so you can travel better for way less using points and miles. Quick thing before we bring on our guest, if you're new here, go ahead and grab my free 5 step roadmap to your next free 5 star luxury vacation and the one card that gets you there, which you can find in the show notes. Now, let's bring on our guest and get into it. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy. On this week's episode, I'm excited to have Betsy Wilson. She's the founder of Become Travel Rich, and she's also other known as in the points and miles space, the GOAT of Alaska Airlines. Really excited to have her on today. Hey, Betsy, how's it going?
Hi, Ross. Great, great. Thank you for having me. Can't wait.
Yeah. I don't want to sell you short. I've heard you on a couple podcasts talk about Alaska Airlines, and I know we're going to dive into why we all need to visit Alaska. But for people who haven't, heard you on those podcasts, do you mind just giving us a little bit of a background about yourself? How did you become the go-to person for Alaska?
Yes. Oh, that's so fun. No, I love that question. And my previous career actually it is in the oil field. So I worked in the oil field for 11 years. I was a heavy equipment operator, and then I became a mom. And I did try and maintain that role in that world, but I would leave my kid, and it just wasn't working. So then I lost my six-figure career and was a mom and still wanted to travel. I had always been flying on Alaska Airlines. I've been an elite member for, I think it's now 12 years. And I've been flying on Alaska Airlines since I was seven, so since 2000. And so, yeah, I've been using Alaska Airlines for 5 years, been an elite for a long time. And I dove into the points and miles world to maintain my travel after, again, losing my job or choosing, actually, not losing, choosing a different career path to be a more present mom. And got into Alaska Airlines, and it didn't really feel like there was a ton of information on Alaska Airlines, and it was like an underdog when I started in 2020, or I started dabbling in 2020, but then I went full throttle into points and miles in 2022, and it just seemed like Alaska Airlines was kind of like a novelty. And for us in Alaska, it's not the most affordable airline for us as far as cash fares go, but it has the largest schedule. So, right, we have Delta, we have American, we have Alaska Airlines, but Alaska Airlines definitely has the biggest schedule for a variety of flights. I think from Anchorage to Seattle, which is our reposition flight, excuse me, um, I think we have 22 flights. If, it varies around there. So it has the most availability and in a travel hack. But where was that? So how did I get to Alaska Airlines? Well, I've always been flying on Alaska Airlines. I'm low-key obsessed. So I think I just use that obsession, and I really want to share that with other people because it is, as you guys know, such a valuable program, and it's getting better and better with the new Atmos rewards.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's always interesting to hear everyone's backstory because people always ask, how do you get into it? And no one went to college. No one said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go do this six-figure job, and then one day I'm just gonna up and decide to leave to then go travel hack. And some people outside of it still are like, is that a scam? Is that a real thing? Is that legal? Like, you know what I mean? So when you're like, yeah, I went to do this and then now, but I think it's very cool that you saw that there was really no one in the market who was focusing in on Alaska and you being there, understanding it and just diving head first, like it's awesome because now you're known, right? Your brand was Her Alaska Travels, which makes it super simple to find and like that makes someone think, oh, well, obviously she's talking about Alaska. She has to be that go-to person. So that's really cool that you did. And I think it's also I like that you shared just around that there's so many flights because I think a lot of people when they think of, oh, well, I don't live in Alaska, like why would I fly at Alaska Airlines? But when people start to uncover, and I know you're going to get into this, like the fact that there's Delta flights, that's theirs, right? You can use on American, there's availability that you can use that on different business class flights, like that's huge. And having that availability is awesome. So yeah, I think just, understanding because we're in, an American Airlines hub in Charlotte, but also for some others, LAX, Dallas, Philly, other ones, like what are some best practices for people in those American Airlines hubs to utilize Alaska?
There's actually a few great resources for people who are using Alaska Airlines, either elite status or Airlines elite status. So a lot of people don't know this, but if you're on an Alaska flight and you have American Airlines elite status, it's like synonymous with our elite status. Like they have a relationship where, so I'm MVP Gold, which is now just called whatever equivalent that is to American Airlines Elite, you will sit side by side in the tier system as far as upgrades goes, the free baggage, the priority line. So it specifically just with American Airlines, that's not talking about the One World Alliance elites. But American and Alaska have a really close relationship where as an American Airlines elite, you have essentially the same status as I do on Alaska Airlines. That's the equivalent to American. And then on top of that, with the Alaska Airlines and the 30, we have 30 airline partners. You can use your Alaska Airline Atmos points. We're going to practice that Atmos points, not miles anymore, Atmos points to book those American flights. And for those who are on the East Coast specifically, there are so many great redemptions. I mean, you can get tickets as low as 4,500 in economy with Alaska points, Atmos points. I'm still learning too. For an economy ticket on an American Airlines aircraft.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I remember when I moved to Charlotte, I started to look to see like, okay, how do I get back and forth? I was flying a lot for work, but like, okay, if I want to go to the Caribbean, if I want to go to some of these places, some of the Alaska miles, when I started to learn more about Seats.aero and like looking at the different transfer partners, I was thinking, how in the world is it this little of points to get here on a one way? Like that's how do I? And unfortunately, when Hawaiian and American or Hawaiian and Alaska had where you could transfer Amex points, I did not yet have an Amex Platinum or Gold, so I did not get to take advantage of that, unfortunately. But I would have been, I know a lot of people were sending those over because they were hard to earn. But I think with the new card, it's definitely going to be a lot easier to earn those for sure.
Yeah, the new card and the cards.
Yeah.
So right now we have, let's just start with the original card, which I call the OG card. Used to be called the Alaska Airlines Signature, now called the Atmos Ascent, $95 a year annual fee. You have that card, which has a lot of great benefits. And then you have the Atmos Summit card, which is now the premium Atmos card, $395 a year. And then on top of that, you have the business Alaska Airlines business card, Atmos business card for $70 annual fee a year. And you have the Hawaiian card, which there were some confusion because recently, like on October 1st or 2nd, it has gone from Bank of Hawaii or has gone from Barclays to Bank of Hawaii. So there was some confusion. Oh, the Barclays card is gone because it was removed from the Barclays portfolio, but it is now accessible through the Bank of Hawaii. So you'll be going to Bank of Hawaii to apply for the Hawaiian card. So now we have the Hawaiian card. We have one, two, three, four, and the Hawaiian business card. So now we have five cards that we can either A, earn a sign-up bonus on. Yeah, five cards that we can earn a sign-up bonus on, or be earning points. Like the Hawaiian, previously known as the Barclays card, Hawaiian Barclays card, earns two times the points on grocery. And I, as you may have seen through the Safeway program, heavily spend all of my money earning 2 points, two Atmos reward points per dollar on the Hawaiian Barclays card, now Hawaiian Bank of Hawaii.
That's a tongue
Uh,
twister.
is that confusing? I really hope I just
No,
wanted
no,
to make
no,
sure we
no,
knew about
no.
all five cards.
No, that was helpful. And I think the names, you're like the names they're trying to confuse people. That's but no, I think it'd be helpful just like when you're thinking through this, you named off those five cards, but like how do you decide, if you aren't, say for someone who's in Alaska and they're flying Alaska a lot, or just say for someone who, like myself, who's in Charlotte or another American Airlines hub, like how would you kind of think of that and then deciding which one
Mm.
to open up? If this episode's helping you out, could you hit that follow or subscribe button and also leave a quick 5-star rating wherever you're listening?
Sure. Well, for one, that Atmos Summit card, which was the premium card for Alaska Airlines for $395 a year, which I have deemed the Alaska Black Card. And I can't take credit for it because I heard an Alaska Airlines executive say this, so it's totally on him. But the Alaska Black Card, which is the Atmos Summit card, has a fat sign up bonus of 100,000 Atmos points. Like, never ever have I heard of that. You may have seen historically the most sign up bonus is like 65,000 on the OG card. So seeing 100,000 Atmos points right off, that's money. So if we're getting started, we're gonna want to get that 100,000, which says limited time offer. We don't know the date that it's gonna go away. Additionally, that card has a laundry list of benefits that outweigh that 395 like over and over and over again. We'd need like a whole 8-hour class to go over all the benefits and how to use them to get the value out of them. But first off, the 100,000 sign up bonus, a 25,000 companion award certificate, another tongue twister, thank you, and lounge passes, Wi-Fi passes, access to the same day change, which if you follow me on social media, I'm obsessed with this feature. I notoriously book cheaper flights and then the day before change them to a more expensive flight. Now it's a gamble, right? Maybe there's not space on that flight, but I'm saving my family hundreds of dollars by booking a red eye, which I also, if you follow me, I do not do red eyes unless I'm in business class. So I'm notoriously booking that cheaper flight and then changing it 24 hours before without the fee of $50 to the more expensive flight. And this has really saved me and my family so much money. That is included with the Alaska Black Card. And I mean, I could go on. There's a flight delay credit. There's of course the TSA pre-check. There is gift partner fees. Okay, this would be good for American Airlines. So if you have the Alaska Black Card, the Atmos Summit, and you book Alaska Airlines tickets with your Atmos points for your American Airlines flight, you do not pay the $12.50 booking partner booking fee with the Atmos Summit card. So that would be valuable. And I know many people who kind of like him and ha, is it worth it to for a family of four to spend that 1250 times four?
Mhm.
Now with that Summit card, you don't pay that partner booking fee of 1250 per person each way.
That's awesome. Yeah. So right off the bat, just with that, you're saving each way $100 if for a family of four. And I like how you break that down because I think when people get into this hobby, a lot of the times it's okay, which credit card do I open? But then also, what about annual fees? Like that big, scary annual fee. And that's totally fine. But I think once you have one card that's maybe $95, and then you start to look at some of the other annual fees, like how do those benefits outweigh that annual fee? So you just breaking it down very simply without even going into the numbers, that makes it super, super simple and makes just makes people able to kind of digest that. What about, so you talked about the companion fare because I get a lot of questions around Southwest companion pass, right? And for me in Charlotte, I always say, it probably doesn't make sense because we're not really a hub unless you want to landlock yourself to go, to Baltimore every weekend or right, Austin, like places that have those, like Charlotte doesn't have direct flights. So it's always thinking through, where is your hub? But like how do you look at that companion fare each year with those 25,000 points that people are getting?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought this up because this is so confusing. So the OG card, the signature now known as the Ascent, has a companion fare also. That is a cash companion fare, can only be used on cash fares. Now the Alaska Black Card, the new Atmos Summit card, has a companion award certificate. This can be used only on award travel. And additionally, this one can also be used on partner airline travel and be used on any class fare. So it can be used economy, first, or business. So in your case, you would be able to book a flight on American for 25,000 points out of Charlotte. and then add an additional person for just the taxes and fees for free with that 25,000 companion award certificate. Different than the cash fare that comes with the OG card.
Okay.
Which then if you had that cash fare, so say you got the OG card for $95 a year, you spent $6,000. That's kind of the tricky part of that card. You have to spend $6,000 every annual year on your annual year to earn that. And then you'll be able to use that companion cash fare to add somebody for $99 on your itinerary only on Alaska. Okay,
Okay.
so we have a cash fare that has really strict rules, has value, especially for my family. When we travel to New York every year, I save $800.
Yeah.
It's never going to be less than 800 to $1,000 to get from Alaska to New York during the holidays. I've been there every year for 4 years, and it's always that price. Sometimes we get lucky with sales, but routinely I use that cash companion fare for that travel to save that 60,000 points that it costs actually to make that travel on award travel. Okay, so back to the cash companion fare. It's very restrictive and you have to spend that $6,000 on the card, which we know is kind of tricky to be spending money on a co-branded card.
Hmm.
Like prioritizing $6,000 on a co-branded card is sort of tricky. So, but on the Alaska Black card, the more premium card, also known as the Atmos Summit, you can earn that annually just by paying the annual fee. And that can be used on that American flight or one of the other 30 partners
Yeah.
in any class of fare. Hope that clears
Okay.
it up.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's helpful. And my mind goes to, I see there's a lot of award fairs sometimes on like Qatar Q suites for 70,000, Alaska points. So if you let's just say, for example, I went out, I got the card, I spent 6,000, got the 100,000, then had my companion fare. If I had another 15,000 Alaska points already built up, would I then be able to combine those to then for that 140,000, and that would equate to that 140,000 to book on that business class?
Yes, for two people. And one other specific detail about the companion award certificate, so the 25,000 companion award certificate, you do have to be a passenger.
Okay.
Whereas with the cash fare, you can gift that. I could gift you mine or you could give me yours and one other person could go. But the companion award certificate, you as the card holder need to be one of those passengers to use it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, thanks for clarifying that. You brought up another good point that I want to go back to just around traveling for the holidays. I think, there's a lot of stuff on social media where it's like, hey, had 10 times, 12 times the points, flew in business class. Realistically, it's really hard for a family of three, four, five to do that. One, to find the availability, but two, you can't just get up and leave tomorrow to go catch that crazy flight. So I think like your thought process, I think hearing it from you of, deciding because you said you saved 60,000 points, like during holiday travel, when deciding when to use points versus when to use cash, and like how do you kind of go through that process? And then also like going up until that day before and booking and the canceling part, kind of diving into that more. It'd be good just to hear like for maybe parents who are just getting into the points and miles, or they're just trying to think through, hey, I'm getting the Alaska card or I fly American a lot, just so they can start to think through a strategy.
Yes, this is a great question. And this is built over time. And also disclaimer, this is based on my rule is based on how many Atmos points I can earn a year. So there's a few factors to the way that I use my Atmos points. This is not a concrete rule. I try to keep the value at 3 cents per point when I'm using my Atmos points. That doesn't always happen, but that's what I'm trying to use them for. And so if I'm not meeting that, then I look at the cash fare and I see if it would the companion award or the companion fare, the cash companion fare would make more sense. Additionally, when I pay cash, I'm earning benefits with the flight. I'm earning points back as an elite member, I'm earning 50% back. So if I'm booking a cash fare, I'm earning points back. So I also add that into the factor of the decision. And so that flight from Anchorage to JFK that we take routinely during the holidays earns me, my daughter, and my husband, because we all have the same elite status, earns us 14,000 points back each if we pay cash. So that's also a level that I factor into it as well. But the premise or the baseline for me is I want to try and use my Atmos points at 3 cents per point, which is so easy with American flights. So incredibly easy. One that I take routinely, and I'm excited to share this with you, is that JFK to LAX, 35,000 points and $5.60 in business class. So it's like a $1,200 to $1,900 ticket depending on the time of day. And I use 35,000 Atmos points and $6.
Wow. Is that lie flat?
That's lie flat, yeah. And
Nice.
flagship
Yeah.
flagship lounge access, which is really cool in LA. And then lie flat and then food. And yeah, it's just a great experience for 35,000 points. And that's
That's
domestic.
yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I see that routinely. That
Yeah.
is not a unicorn deal. I see that very like 18 days out of the schedule most months.
And I can clarify that because I've heard her on multiple podcasts talk about it, and it's been at different times of the year when she when Betsy was
Yes.
talking about it.
So that's a good one. Outside of just the, 4,500 for economy seats, which are great for a family of four or even more, but you could get that same 4,500 seat on American in first class for 9,000,
hmm
which maybe not lay down seats depending on the aircraft, but still a great value.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I've seen those some
I
fly.
had a student, Reese. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, go ahead.
So I had a student that was going down to Corpus Christi for a training and he wanted to bring his family down. And so we got him Anchorage to Dallas on Alaska Airlines Atmos points. I can't remember the exact amount, but the golden one was Dallas to Corpus Christi was first class, so 9,000 points. And we were able to do economy from Anchorage to get all four of them down from Anchorage to Dallas. And then I booked them a separate first class seat so that they would have lounge access in Dallas for kind of a long layover, which is 3 hours. For me, that's a bit long. I really appreciate the lounge access. So then we did that separate ticket and went from Dallas to Corpus Christi.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. And that's just a cool experience for his family because they probably hadn't gotten the chance to do that. So for them, it's like lounge access first class that can make the trip just and then also they're probably hooked on points and miles now and they're probably already down another rabbit hole trying to figure out how how to
Exactly.
make that next trip. Are there any specific outside of American, any transfer partners also just from a sweet spot, whether it's, international for business first class that you really tell people to, check out and use?
Yeah, pay attention to Condor. So good. So good. 2 years ago, Anchorage to Frankfurt, which is such a nice, I've probably heard me talk about this before, but get leaving Alaska always requires repositioning. Almost 9 times out of 10, except that Anchorage to Frankfurt flight on Condor, because we leave Anchorage and we show up in Europe. It's like magic. And
Yeah,
so that is on Condor. That is routinely at 55,000 points in business class for a 7.5 hour flight.
that's not bad. What about, are there other Condor flights outside of Alaska that you've seen that are just, whether it's American hubs, whether it's any others that are pretty popular?
Hmm. So I'm not super familiar with where the American hubs are, but we are going from using Condor, the Atmos points. We're going to go to Thailand in November, and then in December on Condor, we're leaving Bangkok, flying over to Frankfurt for a 13-hour flight, and in business class, that was 75,000 Atmos points. So 13 hours. And if you're familiar with Julia Menez, she has this rule where 10,000 points per hour for business class is like her rule of thumb. So we're already, way under that with 5,000 Atmos points for a 13-hour flight. And then we're leaving Frankfurt and going back to New York for the holidays. And from Frankfurt to JFK direct was 55,000 Atmos points. So JFK is that an American hub?
Uh, is it? I can't remember. I always get mixed up with JFK,
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
I
Sure. But there's another, great redemption. And that's a routine one. I was able to change my flight 3 times because were like, family stuff. We were trying to figure out when we wanted to show up to New York. So I can tell you that I've seen that 55,000 point multiple days in
that's awesome.
December.
That's awesome.
Holiday travel.
Yeah, right. No, that's amazing. Yeah, you'll obviously have fun in Thailand. We just went there in April for our honeymoon and loved it. It was fun.
Did you go to Chiang Mai?
We did. Yeah, we
Okay.
did Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and Phuket. We had a we took a visit to the Chiang Mai hospital for heat exhaustion. So
Oh, good to know. What time of year?
we went in April, so it was like their summer.
Okay. I got to be careful about my husband. He's in Alaska for a reason.
Yeah,
He
we
overheats.
we went balls to the wall and did like a Muay Thai class. We did a sauna steam like wellness day gone wrong. And just after being out in the heat for 2 straight days at a cooking class in the Elephant Nature Park, like it was pretty hot. And we were hydrating. We weren't even drinking any sort of alcohol. It was just the heat was it got to us, but we were all good. It's super cheap if you ever go to the hospital. There, I think we came out like $160 for IVs, medic like visit, everything. So yeah, it was it's a good story.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to know. Do
Yeah.
you have any recommendations on redemptions for Bangkok?
So we did Qatar Q suites direct we did Atlanta to Doha and then over to Bangkok. It was 100,000 through British Airways, and then we just transferred it over to there. So
Okay.
that was, but we did it. I just set up like manual that I think it was the 331 or 355 out and then found it there. We were able to find 2 seats, yeah, for 100,000 points, that was amazing. And then
In
coming
Q
home.
suites.
Yeah, it was great. I think the one thing I wish we did is we flew home from Bali. I wish that we drove to Atlanta because it's like a 3.5 hour flight or drive. But like the coming home was tough because you had been sitting and on the flight, and then you had to drive all the way, and it was just further. So yeah, but no, it's amazing.
That's awesome. Now, and what about hotels? Did you do any points redemptions for hotels?
We stayed at a boutique hotel in Chiang Mai. My wife wanted to do that, and for our honeymoon, and we did that. But then we did 2 points hotels in Bangkok and down in Phuket. We did the Hyatt Regency, and then we were gonna do one, but then we had to change it up since we missed our flight and from the hospital visit. But then in Bali, we did all the Alilas amazing. Yeah, it was awesome.
Another Hyatt?
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
so the Alila
Cool.
Seminyak, there's the Uluwatu Villas, and then the Ubud. So if you get the chance to go to Bali, like you have to stay there. They are like top of the top Hyatts.
Cool. No, I'm absolutely going to take your advice on that. I did Bali last year on a group trip. So much fun. We had a similar experience. One of my girls had to go to the hospital, and it was so cheap. And they came and picked her up at the hotel, and it was less than so good.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely pretty cheap. But yeah,
Well, I'm excited. Thank you for sharing that about Thailand. The whole purpose of us going to Thailand is my daughter's golden birthday. She'll be 4, and her birthday's on December 4th. So I wanted to do the elephants for her golden birthday.
nice. I'll send you the Chiang Mai Elephant Nature Park that we did.
Please,
Yes,
yes. I
yes.
I need some direction. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think I want to get back into just the Alaska part because I know we've covered a lot of the airlines. Are there any other like lesser known strategies? Because I want to get into just some very high level points about Alaska for people who want to visit the
Mm.
actual, state. But are there any other lesser known strategies that you didn't mention that you just wanted to shout out?
Well, we talked about the credit card, and we talked about how American elites kind of, are Alaska elites. I'll just say that as far as upgrades and all the benefits that we get as elites. Um, I think a lesser known thing for the American elites who are maybe considering coming to get Alaska status is now for the Alaska status, we can earn elite status points through non-airline partners. And I know you had mentioned, or I had mentioned, that we can earn points through Safeway. That is an exclusive Alaska resident program. However, there is still 1-800-Flowers, which is 25 Atmos points per dollar, using code AKA4. And so when you buy your flowers, maybe you stack it with your Amex cashback
Yeah.
deal or your one of your cashback deals, you're getting 25 Atmos points per dollar on top of if you when you earn 3,000 points through a non-airline partner, you earn 1,000 status points. And so 1-800-Flowers is just one example. You also have the shopping portal and the dining program and Rover, and there's actually a guaranteed rate partners, and this is for anyone in the United States. You earn 50,000 points when you go through guaranteed rate. You earn 50,000 Atmos points on your mortgage, new mortgage, or refinance. So yeah, those are a few extras for anybody that can use them in the lower 48, as we call it.
Yeah. Oh, the lower 48, I like that. But and listeners, if you're, interested in learning more and diving deeper into the Alaska program, Betsy does have I think it's a private community. Is that right?
Yes, yes, it has an app and everything, but it's called Alaska Airlines University, and I've dubbed it ASU because if you're not familiar, the airline code of Alaska Airlines is AS, and a lot of us Alaskans love to go to ASU, so it's called ASU, Alaska Airlines University, and we meet up once a month to really deep dive on some of the benefits, and then that's where you can ask questions, and I pop in and respond.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So
Oh,
now
thank you.
about the actual state. If someone decides, hey, you know what? I've never been, I want to go, and they have a week and a half to 2 weeks that they can go. Like, what's the minimum time? Where would you say to go? What do you have to do? What should you stay away from? What's clickbait on Instagram? Give us the whole spiel.
Yeah. So if you have Alaska, please come. It is iconic, as most of us already know. A lot of us are, what I hear from a lot is that they're saving up to come because it's expensive. And when you get here, it can be expensive. A lot of the tours do cost a lot because the resources are limited, really is what it is. Their fuel's limited. To get any kind of anything up here costs so much in shipping. So you should expect to save some money with the tours and the fishing if you want to do fishing. And but obviously, with our points and miles, we can get up here for le much less. And I would encourage everybody to come up sooner than later because, like anywhere else, we're evolving. And it feels like the OG authenticity of Alaska is changing, not in a negative way, but in a sustainable way. Like we have to be more sustainable, save energy and all that, but that's a story for another time. But what I'm saying is a lot of the buildings are changing, and so I want more people to come and experience like the authentic homesteaded Alaska before it all kind of disappears. But you already said it, but I would recommend a minimum of 10 days because not only with the travel time, we have a different time zone, so you're going to feel a little bit of jet lag, but there's so much to do here. You're going to have a plan and it's going to change over and over again because you're going to hear from me or somebody else like, "Oh, did you go on the jet ski tour to go see the glacier? Did you fish that halibut or over there?" So if you are coming to Alaska, you had 10 to 12 days. You fly into Anchorage because that's the most affordable, especially with points and miles. You rent a car, and again, you can do that with points and miles. And you kind of recover from your travel in Anchorage. You spend a few days downtown. There's tons of cute shops. Our a museum is absolutely gorgeous. There was a family, the Rasmussen family, who invested into our museum. It is one of the best museums I've been to. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can spend a whole day in there. You can learn about the native history. You can learn about the current events that are happening in Alaska. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a must see. And pro tip, if you have the Alaska Airlines card, you get one free entry per card holder every quarter. So you would be one person or whoever has the card would have a free entry into the museum. And then after spending a few days in Anchorage, you would go travel on, you could go north or south. You got to pick one or the other. You're not going to go north and then south. It's one trip north or one trip south. So south, if you choose to go south, you would go to Girdwood, which is like our iconic ski town, and it's gorgeous both in the winter and the summer. You can do hiking, you can go like walk up to waterfalls, you can drink fresh spring water, you can take the tram up to the top of the ski resort where there's a fancy restaurant and just see the whole view of what we call Turnagain Arm. So we're Anchorage is at the end of Turnagain Arm, and you're going towards south is going towards the end of the arm, and Girdwood is right at the pinnacle of Turnagain Arm. And so going up the tram, you see the entire Turnagain Arm. And if you're listening to this, definitely just Google it and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll spend a day there and then you'll keep driving down. You'll drive, there's a fishing town, which my family owns a fishing charter in Whittier, Alaska. And if you don't know, the only way to access Whittier is to drive through a mountain. So there's a 2 mile tunnel that you drive through. The toll is $13, but it's well worth it. You're going to drive through, and there's like an iconic fishing town where there's only like 280 people that live year round. And this is actually where a lot of the cruise ships come. So if you've already been on a cruise, you may have already docked in Whittier. But it's great. Like you can come down during the afternoon and see the fishermen cutting up the fish and like giant fish, huge fish that a lot of people haven't seen before, and get a coffee at Lazy Otter. And you could just spend the day there. It's not really necessary to go do like a few day trip to Whittier, but it's absolutely cool to be driving through a tunnel. So it takes about 7 minutes because it's 25 miles per hour. And yeah, you're just driving through the tunnel on a train track. And
That's
actually growing up, the only way you could go through the tunnel was you drive your car on the train. They have since allowed us to drive through with our cars now with the toll. Okay, so you're going to spend time in Whittier and then keep going down. You'll drive through Turnagain Arm Mountain Pass. So we call it Turnagain Pass. And this is just like you're driving and there's mountains like one here, and you're just driving through a mountain pass. And it's where a lot of us recreate during the winter, like snow machine or go hiking during the summertime. And this is where you're going to have to make a choice. Well, if you're a rallier, especially in the summer, because there's literally no darkness, because you could just keep going and going, you'll get to a Y where you'll either go to Seward, which is another fishing town, very iconic. Again, a place that a lot of cruises stop in. And then, or you could go to the right and you'll go through like Kenai and like Cooper River. And it's just like the bluest water you've ever seen. There's everybody's out there fishing. It's fun. It's super fun driving through that. And you'll keep going if you're going to the right towards Cooper Landing and Kenai. You'll keep going all the way to the end of the road, and you'll come to another fishing town called Homer, Alaska. And Homer is a place where you can spend a few days. It is, we have the most iconic, like it's called the Homer Spit, and you can walk this spit. It's miles long, and you can walk and you can find starfish, shells. There's a boardwalk with like tons of shops. And here's a place where you could choose to go fishing or you could hike on the mountains. But the coolest thing about Homer, not only is it the very end of the road, but it is 360 mountains wrapped around. So you're like on the spit, the water is right there, the ocean. Kachemak Bay is what it's called. And then it's just like a wall of mountain range. And it's absolutely one of our favorite spots to go even as Alaskans. So yeah, there's a lot to see. Maybe next podcast we'll talk about going north.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good because, right, if people are really interested in coming and visiting Alaska, the best way for them to learn more, I feel like, is one, follow you on Instagram, as well as if there's anywhere else that you share content information, following you there for not only points and miles, but also you focus solely on Alaska. So that, right, you're the boots on the ground. So anywhere else besides your private community, or any other socials you want to share where people can find you?
Well, mainly just Instagram. I'm an Instagram girly. So I love to share just my personal life there and the experience of owning a fishing charter, which has been wild. It's been so wild starting that business. That was just a business we started this year, and everything is changing. So I share a lot of my entrepreneur journey on there. But if people need help with Alaska, like travel and what to do, the resources that you need, our tourism board, Visit Anchorage, is a great resource. I mean, their website's amazing. It's easy to navigate. It's beautiful. And like I'm a member, so I share a lot of what I'm doing on there for both the locals and for people who come to Alaska. So you're going to find events on there. You're going to find the resources like, I want to go on an ATV tour. You're going to type in ATV tour on Visit Anchorage, and it's going to take you to all the members who have that service that you want to go
Awesome.
on.
Very cool. When we make our way there, I'm gonna make sure one to figure out which fishing charter so we can, right?
Borealis custom fishing experience.
Okay, there you go. Right there. If you've hung around this long, right there is your bonus tip.
Yeah.
And Betsy they'll take good care of you. But really appreciate you coming on. This has been really, really helpful. I learned a ton not only about Alaska Airlines, Alaska, and how to utilize those points for being in a hub in Charlotte. Hopefully the listeners did. And listeners, if this is your first time listening, make sure you give us a follow or subscribe. That way you don't miss any upcoming episodes that we put out once a week. As well as make sure you give Betsy a 5-star review. I think she deserves it, and that's what helps us grow the show and reach more people to help people travel for less. So appreciate everyone tuning in. We will see you next week. Really appreciate you tuning in today. Before you go, again, if you're new here, grab my free 5-step roadmap to your next free 5-star luxury vacation and the one card that gets you there in the show notes. The main takeaway from today is you don't need more time or money to travel better. You just need a simple plan and the right strategy in place. My final thought is travel is supposed to feel exciting, not overwhelming. Take one thing you learned today, apply it this week, and your next trip gets easier starting now. We'll see you next episode. Really appreciate you tuning in.